Well, hello, my friends. Welcome to the Artist Next Level podcast. I am very happy to be here with you. And just as promised, I am back. And today I'm going to give you the second session. I'm going to share with you the second session that we did inside the goal setting bootcamp for artists that we have going on right now this week. It started on Monday, December 14. It runs all the way to the 17th. And this is session number 2, which I promised I was going to share with you here in the podcast. Today, I'm going to talk about prioritize your goals and work smarter. The main idea is how to set up your goals, what kinds of things you need to think about when setting up your goals. For example, the time constraint, when do you need to prioritize those goals, what does make sense for you to do right now, what type of goals do you want to do, and all kinds of really powerful strategies that will help you pick the right goal so that you can make sure that you get it going and that you are successful at it. And I'm going to also talk about the big difference that there is out there between goal setting and New Year's resolutions. I'm not talking about New Year's resolutions. I'm talking about something much more powerful that's called goal setting. And I'm going to explain it in this session. And if you want the rest of them, because I'm only sharing the first 2 sessions of day 1, if you want to get the rest of them, if you want to get the full free course that we're doing here, it's a 4-day online bootcamp. You have to sign up, which is totally free. Just register at www.theartistnextlevel.com/goals or look for the description of this podcast. I'm going to put the link right there so that you can register. And even if you cannot see it live, you can still watch all the sessions until December 20th inside of the Facebook group, where there are literally hundreds of artists from around the world right now, goal setting, planning, all excited about 2021. We all want to make 2021 the best year ever. We have learned a lot of things throughout the pandemic, and now we are smarter than ever before, and we have so many tools that we can put at our disposal as we prioritize our goals for 2021. So let's go right at it, and I'm going to share with you my presentation that I did inside the bootcamp for artists on goal setting. Enjoy.
Resources, inspiring interviews, business practices, and practical advice to take your art career to the next level. Join Sergio Gomez in today's Artist Next Level and get ready to take control of your career.
All right, so in this video, we're going to talk about, the goal setting. We're going to talk about, exactly the very first page that we have here in the goal setting system, which is this one right here. It is a page that has multiple boxes. One box is your main goal, and then you have the micro goals and the resources. So we're going to really focus right now to start with goal setting. This idea of goal setting, looking at setting up our goals for 2021. Now, the reason we created this system inside our Next Level Academy is because, we coach artists from around the world. We have been doing this for many years, and we enjoy it. We love it. We have amazing programs and courses and resources for artists that we coach. And there was a need to have something specifically created for artists to look at goals, right? At finding the proper goals for our art career, and also the proper tools to take that goal and to make it a success, for your art career. Because this is what separates the goals from the, New Year's resolution. So don't confuse the two. We're not here to do New Year's resolution. Everybody does New Year's resolution. I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to exercise every day. I'm going to do X, Y, Z. I'm going to keep my studio clean, which never happens in my case. All those different things. Right? Those are resolutions that people say, okay, these are things I wish I want to do. They go there, make them a note, they download an app, they put them in there, they put a sticky note with a quote so they can get excited for it. And then guess what? 2 months later, they have forgotten about it. That note already fell off from the wall. They have already gained 10 more pounds instead of losing the first 10 that they wanted to get loose. And the studio's a mess, right? So that's not what we're doing here. We're not doing New Year's resolutions, so don't get confused. We're doing goal setting, which is so differently, and what we're going to talk about today. The idea of creating goals, and that's why we created this system to help you out and to help me as an artist myself, is the idea of looking at my art career and at your art career and asking myself and yourself the question of, what does it make sense for me to do next as an artist, right? Very different from a New Year resolution or something I wish I want to do. This, what does it make sense for me, for who I am as an artist, what am I in my art career, and what I am in the world that makes sense for me to do next, right? What is the next thing that makes sense for me? And this is so unique because the answer to that is going to be very different to each artist, right? We are all different artists. We are all living different experiences. Some of you are emerging artists who just started recently. Some of you are returning artists. Maybe you had another career and now you are kind of putting a lot of time in your art now, after having another career before. Some of you may have multiple careers where you are doing maybe graphic design or something else, plus now you're doing also your art. Some of you are mid-career artists that you have been doing this for a long time. You have maybe selling your art, maybe you have gallery representation, maybe whatever you may be. And then also we have a number of artists here who are established artists that I know that are also taking this challenge, who already have, galleries that represent them, that sell really well, that do international art fairs, that do projects and things of that nature. So what makes sense for the first artist is going to not make sense for the other one, and vice versa. So you have to ask yourself the question, what does it make sense for me to do right now in my art career? And I would, when it comes to your studio and when it comes to your art career, I would separate also your studio production, the making of your art versus your art business. I believe as an artist, you should have both goals. You should have a goal for your art, studio practice and a goal for your art business. So they're different, right? In other words, what do I want to produce this year? For example, let me give you an example of something that I'm thinking for me in my studio. One of my big goals for 2021 is I'm going to go back to large-scale painting. I really want to create a really large work that I've been thinking about for the last few years and I haven't gotten to it. So it's going to be one of my goals for 2021. So my studio practice is I'm going to create this big work that I've been dreaming about for a while, and 2021 is going to be the year. It didn't happen in 2020 because we had the pandemic and everything else, but 2021, I am very excited about it. And I'm sharing with you right now because I'm going to share that in my social media as I start working at it. And when you see me working at it, you say, oh, this is what Sergio wanted to do, right? So that's going to be one of my main goals for my studio practice. So I'm thinking about that's what makes sense for me right now because I've been doing a lot of medium-sized to small work. So, and I love to do large work, haven't done it in a while, so it makes sense for me to do that, right? So again, for you, maybe something like, well, maybe in 2021, I want to produce a new video work, or maybe I want to do a series of landscapes, or maybe I want to do a series of portraits, maybe I want to do, you name it, right? You have to think about what does it make sense for me right now to do in my studio, right? So spend time doing that. You don't have, by the way, as we go through this with this bootcamp, doesn't mean that you have to have all the answers the first day. No, we're helping you to work with the system so that then you can take the system and take as many days as you need, to come up with your answers. But now you'll know how to use it to the best, for great success. So think about what does it make sense for me to do in my art studio. Once you have that answer, because that's usually the part that makes us all very excited, right? Then you think about, okay, now how about my art business, right? And that's why we're separating the two. How about my art business? What does it make sense for me to do right now in my art business? For some of you, maybe if you're an emerging artist, might be, well, this is 2021 is the year that I'm really going to upgrade my website. Maybe I really need a new website that has also online shopping features and capabilities so I can sell art through it. Maybe for some of you, it's like, well, this is the year 2021 in which I'm really going to put attention and learn how to master Instagram. Not just be on it, but really master it, know how to do it, build my audience. Maybe for somebody else, maybe 2021 is the year in which I'm going to really put a lot of emphasis in my email list and really do that, or networking. Whatever it is, you can be as specific as you want in your business as well. For some of you, for example, might be if you've been doing this for a long time, so might be something related to approaching more galleries, or maybe this is a year in which you want to also release some merchandising, right? Or looking at different income streams for your art business, right? In other words, yeah, I'm selling my art, but maybe I also want to start doing some courses online that I can offer to people, or maybe I'm going to start, also offering prints 2021. So I want to do it the right way. I want to make it a goal so that it happens and it's done the right way, and it has good results, right? So separate the two and start thinking about, your main goal. So what I would suggest is actually, before you use the sheet, just start brainstorming ideas. And for me, I always have these little notepads on my, on my desk and in my studio, and everywhere I have these little notepads that, I just buy at the store. And I use them, for ideas of all kinds, sometimes for little sketching too, but mostly like things I want to teach, things I want to learn, things I want to do. So this is a place where I do brainstorming. So take some time to brainstorm. I would do is put 2 columns. Take a sheet of paper, put 2 columns. In one column, you say art studio and then art business. And then, make a list of things that you think would be good, right? Like just brainstorming. Once you have brainstorming, you have them in front of you, you have a number of ideas. Now you want to ask the next big question, which is, okay, now out of all these things that, do make sense for me right now to do, right? What would be the most important one, right? What would be the one maybe that would make me the most excited? What would be the most important one that I need to focus on right now at the start of the year? And here's also something super important to think about when you're doing goal setting, where you're going through the exercise of goal setting any time of the year, not only at the end of the year. You can do goal setting anytime. It's just kind of fun to do it at the end of the year because it's the end of a cycle. Your mindset resets itself. Says, okay, it's a new year. There's something about looking at a new number that all of a sudden we all get excited about. So that's why we're using this opportunity to goal setting for 2021. But you can technically goal set any time of the year. So one of the things that you need to look at and think about, as you're looking at all these things that you would love to do and would love to have both in your art studio and in your art business, as you start thinking about prioritizing which one is the most important one, which will be my second one, which one will be my third one, right? Which one, as you think about priorities, which one would also yield the biggest results that it will affect other things, right? For example, cleaning the studio and do a whole cleanup of the studio that might take you 3 months to do and go through everything might be a really nice thing to do, but the effect of it, you will be the only one who will enjoy it at the end, and it's not going to do a whole lot, right? Versus, maybe getting an assistant that will come and help you to clean it up in 2 weeks versus 3 months that you would do it yourself, right? So, that will have a much bigger effect because if you get an assistant, then it gives you all that free up time to do other things that are super important for you. So think about, as you look at your goals, ideas that you're setting up, and as you start to decide which one might be the most important for me. So think about the time, right? Short term versus long term. There are goals that are short term. There are goals that are long term. A great example of a short term goal might be, the website update. If you are comfortable with technology somewhat, and there are today so many tools to build a website very easily, I actually had to rebuild my whole website in a week just recently because I did a release of my new art series, which by the way sold out in 3 days, which was amazing. However, right, as I was preparing for that release, my website got hacked. So I totally had to rebuild my website in 1 week. So it can be done, right? So that, if you need to rebuild your website, maybe that's not a long-term 6-month goal. Maybe that's something to say, okay, this is a short-term goal that it would be really nice to get it done at the beginning of the year, get rid of it, right? In other words, get it, achieve that goal, move on to the next one. So think about also in terms of timing, right? Which are the first goals that would make more sense to do right now versus to do maybe in the summer or maybe in the fall, right? So think about timing as well. And something that is super important that a lot of people don't talk about when it comes to goal setting, and I have attended many seminars on goal setting and read books and done systems on goal setting, is like there are goals, right? There are goals that depend 100% on you, and there are goals that do not, that depend on other people to achieve those goals. And for the artist, here's the greatest example of that. And it took me some thinking to come to this term, because working with hundreds of artists over the years in my coaching program, I realized that a lot of artists had the goal of, okay, Sergio, this year I want to be represented by 3 galleries, or I want to be represented by 2 galleries, or whatever, right? And that was like, well, that's a great goal, right? But what happened is that, and looking and working with many artists, sometimes the artists did all the right things, did all the right work, and the goal did not happen, right, in the time lapse that the artist was looking at. And the reason a lot of times is not because the artist did something wrong, but that goal depends on somebody else on the other side to say yes to you, right? In other words, you do 90% of the work. You approach your galleries, you have your portfolio, you are networking, you're doing everything right. But then that last 10% is the gallery owner or the director, the curator, to look at the work and say, yes, I like it, or no, I don't like it, right? So just that 10% can affect your whole perception of that goal and say, well, I totally failed because I didn't get that, right? While you did all the 90% of the work, it depended on that 10% of that answer that person had to give you. So you got to be very careful, when you're doing goals like that, because I never thought about it until, I started working with many artists to realize that's such a thing, right? Where as you prepare your goals, not only think about timing, short-term versus long-term, also which goals are 100% on my end, which goals are percent on my end, but then somebody else has another percentage in the stake of that goal, right? The one that is 100% on you, for example, is building that website, right? If you need to rebuild a website, well, you don't need on anybody to say yes or no. You just go, and start building it yourself, and you get it done and say, okay, this one is 100% on me. The goals in your studio, right? Creating a new body of work, or for me, creating this large work that I've been dreaming about, that's 100% on me. Doesn't depend on anybody else, on you, or my neighbor, or my cousin. It depends 100% on me. So I know I can 100% get it done. Versus, for example, if I want to go into merchandising and I want to collaborate with other creatives, right? For example, on projects. Well, in that case, maybe, again, 50 or 60, 70, 80% of that depends on me. And then the other part pertains on that person saying yes to my idea, my project, right? So when I goal set in those settings, in that sense, I think about my goal for me is really doing 100% of my part, right? 100% of my part, so that make it more likely that the yes comes in. And if the yes doesn't come in on that person, at least I have created all this work that is not waste, because if this person says no, well, I'm going to divert all this energy and time and effort and resources to maybe approach somebody else. If somebody says no, okay, who else might can I? Okay, maybe that person, or maybe that gallery, maybe that institution. Something I'm going to be also doing for me as a goal for 2021 is I'm writing new proposals. And this year I totally actually redid my 7 steps to creating a killer exhibition course, which by the way is available if you want to check it out. And that course, I did it because it was time for me also to start creating new proposals. So I said, the world has changed. I need to change, my approach, how I approach galleries, museums, and institutions. And that's why I did that course, which spells out exactly what I'm going to be doing. So, it's one of my goals in the new year, 2021, in the spring, to send out, proposals that I will be looking at, spaces that I would love to have exhibitions at. So, that's a goal that my part, right, of that goal, my goal is not to get the yes. My goal is to do all the work that I can send. And when I sent and I did all my part, I said, yes, I achieved this goal. Now I'm just waiting for that other person to give me the yes or the no. But my job, right, what I can control in this goal is the part of doing an amazing, what I call, a winner or a killer exhibition proposal. That's my job. That's 100% on me. I don't want when the person looks at my proposal, say, well, this artist is not ready. This artist is not prepared. This artist, doesn't know what he or she's thinking about, right? My end is going to be done 100% with the 100% of my capacity that I can. So that's also the part that you want to think about as you look at your goal. So now you have the 2 lists, right? We've been talking about, you have your list of goals for your studio, the list of goals for your art business, now start looking at, based on this conversation of time, right? Short term versus long term, as well as this idea of what is a goal that's 100% on you, what's a goal that also depends on somebody else to achieve that goal 100%. To start figuring out, okay, which one, as I kick off 2021, which of these goals, maybe which is the one in your studio and one in your art business that I can concentrate on first, right away, from the get-go, right? That I can already say, okay, that is a great goal. I'm going to use my sheet to put a goal for my art studio, and then print another sheet for your art business goal, right? And I suggest that as you look at your goals, don't try to do all. Everybody wants to do, okay, I want to sell more art. I want to have more exhibits. I want to, new studio. Everybody wants everything at the same time. It doesn't happen, right? I think we all can agree on that. You have to focus on something first. Focus on something that you can start working on. And as you work at it, you are making progress versus wanting to do everything at once and not really getting anything done because you're just running in circles. So this will help you out. This exercise will help you out not only to finalize what's your main goal that you can start right now, right? But also looking at once this is done, what will be the second one, right? For example, once my website is done, okay, what will be the next thing that I will do after that? So then you have now this list. And this is a list that you want to save. Don't just throw it away. Okay, I have my number one goal, just throw it in the garbage. No, actually save that list, because maybe next week you think about something you didn't think about today. Or maybe in February you get an opportunity that you didn't have before. Maybe what if in February, right, let's say your goal was to create your new website. You create your new website in January, you send emails to everybody, you use some of the marketing things that I always teach in my academy. And you send that invitation to people to come and check out your new website, which, by the way, that's a great marketing thing that you can do when you create a new website. Send your email list an email and announce it. Let them know that you have something new. So what if somebody gives you an opportunity on there and they see your work, somebody hasn't visited your website in a long time, and says, hey, I have an opportunity for you, for this project or this commission. So now all of a sudden, now you have a new goal, right, to accomplish that. So you can take your sheet again, put that in, and start planning how it's going to happen. So you can see now how this is a work in progress. It's not a sheet that you fill out once and you say, okay, it's not a New Year's resolution. I want to make sure that I bring that across. It's something that you can use on and on, throughout the year in your art career. So you take, and now that you have your goal, the next two sections are super important, so I want to go over really quickly, and then we'll wrap it up for now, which is the why. The why is really what's going to motivate you to move forward on that goal. If you don't have a strong why, and we're going to visit the why later on at the very end of the bootcamp, but the why is simply like asking yourself, why do I want to do this? In my case, why in the world do I want to make a big painting? First of all, hard to move it around. Second, it's also hard to sell because it's expensive, and also not everybody has a giant wall to put it on. So why? Why in the world do I want to do that? If I don't answer that question the right way, I'm not going to be excited to start on that goal. But I have very important whys and answers to that, right? Why? Because I've been dreaming about this for a couple years already or more. So that's one big why for me. I want to see it in the flesh. I've already seen it here. I want to see it in the flesh. A second why for me is because that I believe that work can become one of my best works, right, in my artist production. I want that to be a very important work. Another big why for me is because that work maybe can also open up new opportunities for me for exhibitions and so on. And even though that big piece might be hard to sell, but that piece, which can be an icon piece for me in my career, can help me sell all the other pieces that I have and that I will make that are much smaller, right? So those are the whys for me. Those are the whys where I'm going to write down on my sheet. So when I wake up in the morning and I walk in my studio and like, geez, that's why I'm doing this. You gotta know why. So once you have your goal, spend some time thinking about what's the why? What's the why or why I want to do this? And then, of course, at the bottom of that box is the when. When do you want to have this accomplished? Super important. When do you want to have this accomplished? Again, that's the timing question that we talk about. Is it a short-term That is it like, only 1 month, or is it, a 3-month project, or is it maybe a 6-month project? And there are also projects that are multi-year projects, right? That are like 5-year projects, 5-year goals. So then your goal is like, what can I do, in the next 6 months that I can track? The homework, right, for today, for first day on bootcamp, my friend, is to take time today to brainstorm, to think about your goal, think about your why, think about your when on that goal, to think about the length of your goal, the time frame that you need, to think about, is this a goal that is 100% on me, or is a goal that also depends on somebody else to say yes to me? And that's okay. You just have to know about it so that you don't feel defeated if you get a no at the end of that whole road. You say, Sergio, your program didn't work. Your shit is, it's garbage. I didn't get the yes in the gallery. Well, you did your part, but it's that other person that had to say yes. So what you do is you take what all you've done and now just veer it in another direction, continue looking for opportunities, right? So that's kind of how it works. So take time for the rest of the day, the rest of the evening. Maybe if you have some time tonight before you go to bed, just take that piece of paper and continue, chopping down into these ideas of what makes sense for me. Ask yourself that question. In my studio, maybe just walk in your studio and sit down on a chair and just look at the whole thing. If your studio is small, in your kitchen, which by the way, amazing art is done in kitchen tables. Never feel less of an artist because you don't have a big, beautiful studio like you see on Instagram. Amazing art, incredible art can be done on a kitchen table. I've seen it and I've done it. So never feel less of an artist if you don't have a big studio. Maybe that's a goal for the future, right? But right now, right, look at your art studio practice and say, what makes sense for me right now? For some of you, might be even making more room in your busy schedule to spend more time in your art. That's a great goal. That is a beautiful goal, actually. If you have a really hectic life right now, or you're really busy, what can you do? What things you can cut out? So a goal for you to say, okay, between now and the next 3 months, I want to increase my studio time by 25%. Don't go all the way crazy and say, okay, I want to multiply it 3 times if it's not doable. Right? You have to think about goals at the same time, that make sense for you because they are doable. At the same time, they are excited, right? They are excited for you to do. Don't pick goals that are too easy to do, that you'll get them done in 2 weeks and that you're done, right? Now, the idea is to pick goals that are doable, but that also challenge you, right? They give you a challenge. Like when I think about creating this big work that I want to make, it's a challenging thing, and it makes me excited, but it also makes me afraid sometimes. Like, what if it doesn't work? What if people don't like it, right? All those things that we artists, we think about. So, and those are the things I have to deal with as I work on that big goal of mine. So, work on this, my friend. Tomorrow we'll come back and we'll continue working now into the micro goals and the resources, which are super important sections of this first sheet that will help you to, manage your big goal. Right now is focus on the goal, the why, and the when. Tomorrow we'll focus on, okay, now that we have this big goal that we want to do, how do we actually make it happen? What's the strategy behind it that's going to make this goal come through? So my friend, share your comments below this video. Share your thoughts, ideas. If you already have a goal in mind that you think is good, share it in the group. We would love to hear from you. That's what this group is here for, so that we can connect with each other, so we can interact with each other. Maybe here you'll make some new friends as well, and that is awesome. That's what I love about boot camps, is that you can also create great friends. When I think about boot camp, I think about like when I was a kid and I went to an actual camp, right? Put my backpack and I always made new friends, and it was so great to come back with new friends. That's exactly what this boot camp is all about. So, hope you have a great rest of your day. Spend time alone thinking about your goals. Have a great day, my friend.
Check out our website at www.theartistnextlevel.com, where you will find our podcast library, learn about our upcoming webinars, find resources relevant to your career, and much more. Thanks for listening to today's podcast, and we'll see you at the next level.